Let's get started. August 17, 2018, light and gravitational waves was produced by an event known as a kilonova, or the collision and merger of two neutron stars. Creativity has no glass ceiling. When I read this, I visualized women not being bound by any enclosure, but we burst out with the same sheer power and magnificence as the stars. I'd like to share with you my kilonovas. I first met Frida Kahlo in 1998, Art History 101. They described her as one of history's grand divas, a tequila-heavy drinker, dirty joke-telling smoker, a bohemian who threw festive dinner parties. But her story was powerful and refused to go away. At the end of the day, we can endure much more than we think. She survived a serious bus accident at 19. She was impaled by an iron handrail, and her screams drowned out the sirens. She broke her spine, her pelvis, collarbone, ribs, and her right foot. It is unlikely she would survive. They had to put her back in sections, said a friend, as if they were putting together a photo montage. Now forced to lie still, she needed a new way to be active. Without paying much attention, I began to paint. My obsession was to begin again, painting things that I saw with my own eyes and nothing more. She had a mirror on her bed where she could see herself. Frida was left with a buckle corset and a prosthetic leg for the rest of her life. The streetcar accident had left internal injuries, which made it impossible for her to have children. She miscarried 3 times across the course of her life. She purged her emotions on canvas. Her paintings are often bloody and severe, but they simply represent the truth of what was happening. Frida vowed to walk again, and she did. And when she did, it was semi-colonial Mexico, communists, student leaders, artists, political exiles, and she rediscovered the pleasure of debate, music, dance, love affairs. And then she noticed Diego Rivera. I suffered 2 great accidents in my life. One is the streetcar that knocked me down, and the other is Diego. To her, Diego was the world's greatest artist, the architect of life. To him, Frida was a diamond in the midst of many inferior jewels. But he was known for his endless love affairs with women, and Diego was still a mentor to her, her best friend, and her equal. She was proud of her Mexican roots, and once she and Diego were married, she took to wearing Tehuana dresses from the southeast Mexican state of Oaxaca. It's a costume with a symbol of female power. She also favored this indigenous style of dress because the long skirts and blouses covered her misshapen leg and the corsets she was forced to wear. Frida was well known for her style, and there was phases of androgyny. She would experiment with men's clothes and hairstyles. Family portraits circa 1927 dressed in a man's suit. She would have affairs with women as well as men through her life. Perhaps one of the reasons Kahlo is so memorable is because she was not only an artist that broke the mold, but also as a person she broke the mold. In Mexico, it's a blessing to be born and to die in the same house. La Casa Azul, or the Blue House in Coyoacan, just outside Mexico, is where Frida was born and died 47 years later. Reflecting on her life at Casa Azul, she said, "How we painted the house and the Mexican furniture, all that influenced my painting a lot. I began to make paintings with backgrounds and Mexican things in them." There was even a connect with India. Nayantara Sehgal and Rita Dar, the daughters of Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit, the sister of Jawaharlal Nehru, had gone to Mexico to visit and met with Frida. "We put her in one of our saris and she loved it," Sehgal recalled. Writer Elaine Yusuf encapsulates her perfectly. "If I were to introduce her, I would say she's an icon of strength, a victim of love, and a genius in art." Kahlo changed the standards of beauty with her unibrow, her right leg thinner than the left one, and her indigenous Tehuana dresses. I regard Kahlo as a school of lessons. She showed the world what woman is capable of, both physically and emotionally. Looking back, I realized that I've only ever worked for women. In our everyday lives, we have women around us that serve as magnificent examples of resilience, strength, and passion for their work and life. I share with you 3 that are a part of my life. With each passing year and each generation, our country must become more equal, not less. Tammy Baldwin. I applied to the office of Tammy Baldwin, a Smith alumni, in 2001. International students were not given positions to work on Capitol Hill, but Baldwin was the first at many things. She hired 2 international students, myself and a student from Colombia. One of our main responsibilities was to give tours of the Capitol buildings to visitors. People were amazed that a girl from India was sharing with them the history of their country, the Capitol building, and Washington, D.C. Baldwin is a remarkable leader and went on to making history in 2012 by becoming the first openly gay politician and the first woman from Wisconsin to be elected senator. Each day was a show in court. You're judged at every step, and I was ready to prove I could excel in a predominantly male-dominated profession. In 2003, I found myself back in India and working with one of the top lawyers in the country, Zia Modi. It was a privilege to work and watch Zia work. Her passion for law was infinite. I will never forget watching Zia command a boardroom, usually filled with men, and powerful men, often the only woman, and she sat at the head of the table. She conducted the room with incredible skill and grace, and they all listened carefully. And it made me proud to be a woman. I am Indian, and all what I comes from my heritage. It's an intrinsic part of me and naturally reflects in my work. To have the chance to observe a successful woman at her profession is an experience that any individual is fortunate to witness. But I have seen a successful woman work, love, and live. This is my fortune. Greater still, she's my mother. With over 200 projects built across a span of 4 decades, Brinda Somaya has built a practice that deeply rooted in her country and her people. Being a woman in a male-dominated fraternity meant she had to make her voice could be heard, and she was heard because of brutal honesty and her efforts to always maintain a high standard of integrity. She is the bright star in my life, and I watch her creating kilonovas every day. As women, we must support one another. This will be our greatest strength. We must lead by example and work as if no glass ceiling exists, with the hope that the next generation will have no ceiling to break. Let us support each other and together generate the power of a kilonova, for then there shall be no ceiling.